the book of Romans, chapter 12, and verse 18. Romans 12 and 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you.
Hold on. If it what?
If
hold on. If. If is indicative of what? That it's a possibility that it might not. It may or it may not. If. Read it one more time.
If it be possible.
If it be possible. Meaning what? Sometimes it may not be possible. It may not be possible. Go ahead.
If it be possible, as much as lieth in you.
As much as lieth in you. Meaning what? Sometimes things are so deep rooted. Sometimes we got indignation. There's a difference between just hatred and indignation. Righteous indignation. Sometimes you got so much of a reason to feel some type of way. You got so much of a reason to react in a certain way because of things that you've gone through and people that have wronged you. Read it one more time, Mike.
If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
Live peaceably with all men. Now, I'm going to go on record to say this. I talk to my brothers sometimes. I believe that there's a lot that we need to do on the front line dealing with our people. And then there's some things we need to really take a look at and kind of correct and sharpen, right? It's crazy the way we deal with our people sometimes versus how we deal with the heathen, right? It's easier for us to kind of lightweight and sometimes not lightweight at all. Get out of pocket when it's concerning us and kind of flex when it's concerning us. But when it comes down to not only just the other nations, but in particular, the specific nation who happens to be the top dog, numero uno on the earth, somehow, some way, the bass in our voice decreases. Somehow, some way, we a little bit more circumspect, right? Why is that? Now, I'm not saying to be unwise, because see, that's the one thing that they got to understand, that you got to understand if you don't already understand it. This Bible has never taught us, the children of Israel, God's chosen people, it's never taught us to be a foolish people. It's never taught us to go out there and be reckless. It's never condoned that. He said, if it be possible, with all that lies within you, live peaceably with all men. What's so funny about it all is this. I hear people speaking, and even when I went out the country, I hear people speaking and talking about certain aspects of our people, characteristics of our people. We tend to be a people that actually are more so peaceable than what most of us would think. But because we're in a land where we've been constantly criminalized, we begin to think otherwise, right? We actually like it when it's peaceful. We actually like the simple life, dwelling in tents, like the scriptures say. But you put enough of us at the bottom of the barrel, strip us of all our resources, and of course it's going to get a little bit hectic, right? But here's the thing that you got to understand. We try our best to be peaceful. I know white folks today that I can be like, hey, what's up? I'm not one of them Israelites. You know, and hear me what I'm saying. I'm not one of them Israelites that got to flex every time I see an Edomite, especially if I'm amongst my brothers. That ain't what it is. Nah. As long as he know that when it go down, what side I'm on and that I'm ready to bust ahead, that's all that matters to me. And if he don't know that, even better. I want him to think I'm his buddy of all buddies, because that's what he do to me. That's a perfect hatred like David spoke of. What I got to flex on you for? Nah. How do he flex on us? He flex on you with his pocketbook. He flex on you through exploiting you, killing you slowly and making money off you. He don't want you to die too quick. Bills got to be paid. Kids got to eat. I said, man, okay. Where you learn that from? That's gangster. When you really understand and look at the gang culture, to be honest, man, we're a tribal people. We've always have been. But the aspect of a gangster's mentality, that came not only from Esau, but specifically from Amalek. You can go and do the history and see who the first gangsters was in this country and how they moved. Straight up.
That movie Gangs of New York. That's a good one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people, even they'll be like, oh, the Italians, man, even beyond the Italians, those Italians, a lot of them were actually bootleg Jews, straight up. They even got it in their museums. You can go to the Skirball Museum right now and look at the history of gangsterism that started here in the United States of America, straight up. But one thing that you're going to learn about this man ain't never been a peaceful man. He is the most violent man on this earth. Straight up. That's why it's so hard to be peaceable with him. It's so hard. If we could just be cool and live in peace, hey, it is what it is. You do you over there, I'm going to do me over here. But this man makes it impossible for us to live peaceably with him. Watch this. I gotta go to some stuff. Go to the clip. How I work this, man? Hey, what's up with this? Hey, go to the PowerPoint. You got a code on this or something? Got a fingerprint or something? I'm trying to go to the next one. That's that high-tech stuff. Okay, go ahead and show this for me, please. Look, should we apologize, sympathize, or explain ourselves? Because I'm not here to get on any of my brethren. You know, we all learning at the same time and dealing with these things at the same time. But it's time for us Israelites, those that want to disconnect themselves from the camp. See, that's why I don't mess with the camp stuff. That's foolishness. The name Israel, we all suffer together. Let's come together and let's have the common sense to at least figure out how is it that we're going to address these types of situations. Because this ain't going to be the first. I mean, this ain't going to be the last. Trust me. It ain't the first, and it definitely ain't going to be the last. So when we get into situations like what we in right now, I see certain people that have kind of sympathized and kind of been explaining themselves like, oh, we're not affiliated. I don't know enough of the details to this, and I'm going to be careful with what I say and how I say it. But I'm not about to speak on something that I don't know all the details about. And the people that happen to be giving me all the details are people that have destroyed my people from years and years on in. So you're not about to get me to sympathize and explain myself and backpedal. And you got my people on display, and you're treating the nature of that situation totally different than you treated every other situation that had to involve so-called blacks and so-called Hispanics and so-called indigenous people. You don't react in the same way when it's us, but when it's you, it's never again, and it's no tolerance. My question is, what's the difference between anti-Semitism and racism? How come when it happened to us, it's just racism? And if it's that, it's always a question. Well, we don't know if it was race related. Come on. Soon as anything happened to a bootleg Jew, are you anti-Semitic? And how I'm going to be anti-Semitic when I'm the Semite? They still constantly disrespect us. Well, you know, the black Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, well, some of them believe that not only the blacks, but the so-called Latinos and the indigenous people are also a part of the ancient Israelites. You disrespecting. How many times have we told you we don't want to be addressed as black Hebrew Israelites off top? Then you sit up here and you downplay the history that's there for any and everyone to see for themselves and see that we are the legitimate people of the Most High according to everybody's history. And that you have no link to the chosen people or that land that you claim that's yours. And here you got us doing the same thing that you had us doing back in the days. Let's play this real quick. How this work, man? There you go.
The atrocity perpetrated by Goldstein was roundly and publicly condemned by the entire leadership of the Jewish community in America, as well as the leaders of the state of Israel.
Let me ask you this.
They publicly condemned that action, and I can't even get you to look into the camera and convey even the remotest notion that you have in your heart some love for two Jews who died trying to save black people in the South. I speak of
You cannot get me to look into the camera and do that.
Yeah. May I ask you to kindly speak to that?
You cannot get me to look into the camera and show love for two Jews. I don't even know them. I live with this pain and suffering every day among my own people. Look at our babies. They're in the Oakland, in the Bay Area. They're watching Schindler's List. You have your Schindler's List, but for us it's been a swindler's list because someone is attempting to steal our birthright. They stopped the movie. Take our babies out of the movie as though it's such a moral outrage. And then Spielberg comes in. The governor comes in. What about the statements of the Jew Howard Stern, the comedian Jackie Mason? What about Moshe Dayan? What about the fact that members of the Senate have made racist comments and Congress, and they were voting against me, but they were not brought up by their own colleagues in that so-called august body?
Yeah. What's up with that? What's up with that? See, that's the spirit that we supposed to be moving in. I'm not for the nonsense, man. We're going to be wise when we speak, but what we ain't going to do is we ain't going to start doing the exact same thing that they've been doing to us and we've been falling short on because our leaders haven't really understood how important it is to respond in the right way because the people are watching. If I submit to him in such a way where I allow him to control what it is, the narrative that's being perpetrated through conversation to say, you know, you saw how he tried to, what's the word I'm looking for? Tried to back him up into a corner, right? And tried to use the thing that everybody still tries to use this day. What about humanity? Here I was in Ghana. We at Elamina Castle, right? The place of the infamous door of no return. And the guide happened to be one of us from the Ewe tribe, right? Who are known to be descendants of the Israelites, right? And after showing us all of the atrocities and seeing the details of how wicked these Edomites were, and not only these Edomites, because I've studied the history enough to know, I was at Elamina Castle, which happened to be the stronghold of the Portuguese. And if you know anything about the history of the Portuguese, right? Those Portuguese called themselves by our names. They began calling themselves by the name of the Jews, right? Sephardic, if you will, right? Because the expulsion of our people began to happen all throughout Europe. Upon the expulsion that happened in 1492, which is the one that most people know about, right? Many of our people escaped into Portugal only for a few years. And from Portugal, they had to do what? They had to go down into Africa, right? And these people began to assume our name and our identity. So these people called themselves by our names. These are the same seed of Amalek, specifically of that family, out of the Edomite nation, right? To see how they had things set up in that castle to destroy us, right? To know which he's going to reference in the next clip that I'm going to go into. This right here is one of a few books that are put together, all Jewish references of them telling you exactly what it is that they've done and everything that they had to do with our enslavement. They're the ones that perpetrated it. They're the ones that funded it. They're the ones that profited more than anyone else from our slavery. And for them to sit up here and talk about us having that type of, it's a slap in the face, man. Let's play this next clip. How do I get back up? There you go.
Oh, Lord, child, Lord have mercy. Here come the cracker man. He's the one who cracks the whip to keep you in line.
Okay, well, what is, besides the...
And the so-called Jews, I say so-called, not in mockery, Brother Dominic. I'm not playing to any cameras. They are the so-called Jews because we are the true Jews, the true Hebrews, the true and real Israelite right has been stolen by them. We are the true ones that fulfill Bible prophecy and scripture.
Isn't it a fact that you know, by throwing out those terms, you're guaranteed press coverage?
I'm not throwing out terms. I'm fighting age-old enemies, and I'm planting seeds in the minds and hearts of the youth and the masses of my people that we will not make the same mistakes again. As they say in the so-called Jewish community, never again, never again.
What happened in your life that gave you your personal experience, your perspective on Jews in your lifetime?
Study, experience, living, studying the teachings of Dr. Yosef ben Yaakov, studying the teachings of Dr. John Henry Clark, studying the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Malcolm X, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and Dr. Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Barashango, and Browder, and Akbar, and many others. There are volumes of material.
Hold on. We're gonna get right back to it. You heard some of those names that he named? Huh? All these people know that we the Israelites. They said, where did you learn this from? So how come they ain't telling this to the people? I know off top, the name that you just mentioned, Farrakhan, especially in 2010, he went on a whole campaign about us being the children of Israel. Somehow, some way, I don't know how it happened, him being the leader of the Nation of Islam, they was not backing him on that. They even put out a specific final call that said on the front of it, blacks, true children of Israel. You can't pay them to reprint that issue. Real talk. But Farrakhan said he learned it from Elijah Muhammad. Anybody that's studied enough in anything that they're into, whether you're talking about Islam, you're talking about the 5%ers, the Moors, you name it, all of them will tell you, if you study enough, they'll all come to the same conclusion. Yeah, I know we the Israelites, but he told you where he got it from. And it's a reason why a lot of y'all don't even know that brother. How many of you guys have ever even seen that dude? Look at that. A lot of us ain't even never seen this dude. They tried to sweep him under the rug. Let me finish up. Go ahead. Turn back.
Oh, Lord, child, Lord have mercy. Here come the cracker man. He's the real.
Gave you your personal experience, your perspective on Jews in your lifetime?
Study, experience, living, studying the teachings of Dr. Yosef ben Yachanan, studying the teachings of Dr. John Henry Clark, studying the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Malcolm X, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and Dr. Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Barashango, and Browder, and Akbar, and many others. There are volumes of material, and even studying the book called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, a book that thick with nothing but so-called Jew historians and scholars who explain their role in the black or the African Holocaust.
Do you have a Jewish friend?
No, sir, I do not have a Jewish friend. I am the black Jew. I am the black Hebrew. I am a member of the family of the black Hebrew Israelites. But if you're asking me, do I have a white so-called Jew friend who is not in that line of Semites, so I can't be anti-Semitic? Did you know that there are Semites in Africa? Did you know that there are Semites in Asia? That there are some Semites so black and purple black and beautiful? These are people using a political term.
Attempt. Khalid Abdul Muhammad had finished his speech in Riverside, California, and headed outside to answer questions from the crowd when shots rang out. CBS reporter Manuel Gallegos has been on the story since the shooting occurred.
KCBS reporter Saida Pagan was just about to do a live report when the shots rang out. Mohammed and 3 other people were shot. Some scrambled for safety, while others shouting he works for the Jews overpowered the gunman and beat him unconscious. Police then stepped in and dragged the suspect away, while Mohammed's supporters carried him to safety.
And this event was a peaceful event. No intentions of any type of violence whatsoever. We come out here for the brother can finish his questions, and his life was almost taken by another ignorant person.
Don't you let no hook-nosed, bagel-eating, locks-eating, perpetrating a fraud.
It is remarks like this one that have earned Mohammed his reputation as someone who despises Jews. Everywhere he goes, the former spokesman for the Nation of Islam stirs angry emotions. Mohammed blames Jews for hindering the progress of African Americans. He has been denounced by President Clinton, other black leaders, and even Louis Farrakhan himself.
Not just what people want to hear or what somebody else is soliciting, but the truth that needs to be told.
At the hospital where Mohammed was taken, tension was high and security was tight. The gunman remains in critical condition, and the police are being very careful about what they say about him. The injuries to the other bystanders were not life-threatening.
So as you see, when you take a certain stance, that's pretty much what you're gonna be met with. All right. Is that real? Is that real? I'm not saying go out and be exactly like, Khalid Abdul Muhammad, but what I am saying is I definitely admire the man for staying true to what it is that he ultimately learned according to the Bible, which is that I don't care how he sound and how much of this world is his. Esau, the so-called white man, is still the devil that the Bible speaks of. And we can do it, and we can be peaceable, we can be wise, and we can, You know, we can stay over in our ghettos, and you can stay wherever you at in the high places in the fat of the earth. You know, or, you know, when it's time, it is what it is, because that's what it's going to be anyway. You know, but it's a whole lot of Israelites, man, that and keep in mind what I'm saying. Take every word of what I'm saying and listen closely to what it is that I'm saying and how I'm saying it. I'm not saying for us to be foolish, because the Bible doesn't teach that. But what I am saying is this: war is going to happen, because war is already happening. The battle, the fist to fist, the bullets, the explosions, that's not all that encompasses the war. The war began a long time ago, and the war that destroys more so than the bullets and the fist is the psychological aspect of the war, and the deceit, the propaganda, the dogma. All of those things have destroyed us beyond what you could possibly imagine, that have done more harm than any fist or any bullet could ever do to us. Hold on a second.
We have.
So let's take a look. Jersey City shooter was Army veteran with a lengthy criminal history. All right. First thing that they want to do to you, they want to find out. They want to find some dirt on you. That's how they always do you. Here they done killed you, killed your baby, but then they want to go and dig dirt. And they basically want to dehumanize you and criminalize you as much as possible, so the world doesn't feel as bad about you being laid to rest. Right? And that's been their MO from Jump Street. Right? Soon as it's somebody white, so-called, you don't see the same type of approach. You know, they troubled and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. You know, they, you know, just took a wrong path in life. But when it's us, they want to criminalize us quickly. Then on top of that, that's why I got that over there in the corner. We're going to get into all of that in Scripture, but it says, for they have consulted together with one consent. Look at who the Attorney General is. He ain't even Esau. His people at war with Esau, but he'll come together with Esau just to rag on us. And you're going to find out it's a bunch of BS, because this is the narrative that's given. And it's crazy because we don't own any of the media outlets. And we don't have, like, you know what's so crazy, man? I remember when my cousin got shot and killed. And we were saying, man, let us see the body. They would not let us see that body and let us know that that body was not only in their possession, but that we had no rights to seeing the body. How can that be? How can that be? I'm just saying, something as simple as that. How can that be? How can you take what's always been mine, what should be mine, and tell me right now it's not yours? Hold up. Right? So what do we control? How can we do our own investigation? We just got to wait and watch for them to make mistakes, if they make mistakes on certain stuff. But this could be the furthest thing from the truth. I'm not saying that it is, but it could be the furthest thing from the truth. But this is all you have, because they're the ones controlling everything. And when you look at these so-called Jews, they're the ones that responded, right? They were the police officers. They're the ones that are doing most of these reports that I'm going to go into, that's writing the narrative. How convenient. The shooter, David Anderson, and I don't have her name on deck. I should have put, her name is Graham. But it mainly concentrates on this man. Was arrested at least 5 times since 2003. the year he was discharged from the Army, the records show. And then they always want to paint the same picture. Oh, he's even extra dangerous. He was in the Army, so he knows a little bit of something. Right? We'll skip on down. It says state and federal authorities are still piecing together the motive. Now listen to what they're saying. They're still piecing together the motive behind the shooting. But Anderson and Graham held views that reflected hatred of Jewish people and law enforcement. But you still piecing it together, right? All right, let's see. Investigators checking shooter's connection to black Hebrew Israelites and anti-Semitic notes. A law enforcement official told the New York Times Wednesday that Anderson appears to have a connection with the black Hebrew Israelites movement, but the extent is unclear. Is he or isn't he a part of the movement? The black Hebrew Israelite movement is best known for its confrontational brand of street preaching in urban areas, but it has a complex history in the United States, with sects and branches splintering over theological and leadership disputes. So, you know, one of the things I was sharing with IQ when I spoke with him earlier, you know, Esau, boy, he's able to disseminate the proper information to his people also through these articles. He's saying a lot about us because he's been looking at us. It's no different than the 60s. He's been watching closely and been in the midst. Sent his operatives in the midst of us, right? Leadership disputes. How would he know about that? I'm just saying. What leaders? A lot of y'all don't even know about the leadership disputes within the Israelite community, do you? But he knows. Scholars say what unites most black Israelites is the belief that African Americans are the true descendants of biblical Jews. So he's still dancing around it, never taking the time to say, let's examine this. Let's prove it, right? Just always disrespects by saying their belief, right? But here we are holding this people that they call themselves by the name of our name, the Jews, in the highest regard. And these bastards eat bacon and laugh about it. All of this is some mumbo jumbo, right? But yet they rule the world based off of bearing the name that was given to us. And will make everybody stop in their tracks when they put the word anti-Semitic on the table. Some members have expressed anti-Semitic sentiments in the past. Ooh. We're scared now. You're an anti-Semite. That's anti-Semitic. No, not me, bro. Not me. I'm good. Now, we follow the laws of the land. Nah. We ain't backpedaling. Anderson served in the U.S. Army Reserve from September 1999 to September 2003, the Army said, as a fuel and electrical system repair. So also I wanted you to check that out down there. Funerals guarded by police and volunteers. They over there crying. It's a big deal. It didn't even look this big when what happened with Charleston. And the first thing that they was doing was trying to get people talking about, I forgive Dylan Roof. This fool set up in there while the people was praying and doing their thing. If there was any type of humanity in that bastard, Wouldn't he have said, well, that one over there is cool. Maybe I'll go and shoot up another church. Man, that bastard empty, I don't know how many clips. Then I went back because I just had to see it for myself. I don't have any of them up. But I went back, I said, let me see the headlines from 2015. It was hard to find some of them. They kept having suspected. How in the world is he suspected when y'all know for a fact he didn't? Then they brought him up out of there. Guess what they did to him, Al? Took him to get some Burger King. But with this, somehow, some way, they was right on deck. Good thing we responded. They would have killed many more. They were talking about going over here and doing this and doing that. Oh, how convenient. And it's a travesty. Now, my thing is this. How many Jewish people actually got killed? I know it was 9 that was actually so-called black in Charleston. If this is such a travesty, I just want to know how many Jewish people actually got killed. What? You said 1? 1. I don't know if the lady was, but it didn't seem. And then there was another man that seemed like he was actually our people. He was 10 tribe. And then the police officer, as far as I know, he wasn't. It was only the one that was the son of the activist. But it's a big deal. Now I'm not spitting on how they feel about their 1, but I'm just saying 1 compared to like what that brother spoke about, all of the atrocities that we've suffered on a day-to-day basis. How many white police officers have killed so-called blacks and Hispanics just within the last 5 years? They show as heck ain't offering the same type of explanations that they got us trying to offer. I wish somebody would come with man, I told IQ that earlier. I know exactly what to say. Please find me and interview me. You're not gonna like what you hear, and I'm gonna try my best to be like Yahweh Shah. I'm gonna try to be as blameless as possible, but it's gonna cut. Enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. Go back. These are various different clips. Let me get to some of these, man, because I need to get to these scripts. Look, CNN. Jersey City shooters fueled by hatred of Jewish people and law enforcement, state attorney general says. Now, here's the thing. Everything, all of the headlines are just so aggressive. You know exactly what's going on, but you keep saying in the small print that you really don't know the details. But in the big print, you know exactly what's going on. Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. It's a hate crime. They're against Jews and law enforcement. Look at that. Acts of hate. Did you see anything of that nature with Charleston or any of the other ones with Mike Brown or any of that? Sandra Bland, any so-called black or Latino that you didn't see and get killed and gunned down, whether it be by law enforcement or some white person that was afraid because they had their music up too loud or decided to go and chase him and say, I was afraid for my life, even though he chased him down. Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, who done made a living off of killing this boy. But you never see headlines like this, acts of hate. Officials say Jersey City shooters held animus toward Jews and cops. Let's read down here, right here. Gruel, which was the Arab cat, said the attackers, David Anderson, which is 47, and Francine Graham, 50, had expressed interest in a fringe religious group called the Black Hebrew Israelites. They expressed interest. Nowhere out of all of the articles that I've read has it ever had any type of absolute affiliation with any type of Israelite organization. They expressed interest. Whose members, now watch this, whose members often rail against Jews and whites. But he said there was no evidence so far that they were members, and added that the two were believed to have acted alone. Let's read over here. It says, also on Friday, Senator Bob Menendez, moms demand action. Let me go down. Oh, yeah, gun reform. It's always gun safety reform because they just want to take guns out of our hands. That's all. Don't give up your guns. All right. This, as the investigation continues into the deadly shooting and standoff in Jersey City that left Detective Seals and 3 civilians dead, and part of the focus is now on a fringe group with anti-Semitic, anti-white, and anti-police tendencies that the now deceased suspects were said to follow. The alleged killers were identified as Anderson and 50-year-old Francine Graham and were believed to be followers of the Black Hebrew Israelites. Related, what we know about the suspects. Oh, now you know something. Let's see what they know. The FBI on Wednesday searched the Harlem headquarters of the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, which is the formal name of the Black Hebrew group, according to the official who was not authorized to discuss the case publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. How you pronounce that word? Thank you, I appreciate that. Anonymity. Authorities said Thursday that while both suspects showed interest in the group, they had not been formally linked to the Black Hebrew Israelites or any other organization. Would you be able to tell that by everything that you done heard? Boy, that's why they call him a devil. I know a lot of times we say devil is deceiver, but when you really go and look at the actual meaning of devil, devil means false accuser. That bastard always falsely accuses us of everything. Falsely accuses. That's what a devil is. Authorities said a device found in the back of the U-Haul proved to be an operable explosive device, a pipe bomb. Also in the U-Haul were notes with religious writings, one of which included the quote, "I do this because my creator makes me to do this, and I hate who hates, and I hate who he hates," according to multiple law enforcement sources. Now, how crooked are law enforcement off top? Now, you got this manifesto. How come we ain't seen it yet? I wonder who they got trying to write it right now with their left hand and they right-handed. Who they got trying to write this, boy? Boy, that was some poetic writing right there. I do this because my creator makes me to do this, and I hate who he hates. They've been watching the Israelites teaching on the streets. Authorities in New Jersey reportedly did not have the Black Hebrew Israelites on their radar as a violent group, considered more a nuisance at public events. Boy, they know how to make you the target, but at the same time let their people know that they ain't gonna bust a grape. That's really what they saying. They saying, yeah, they the target, but just to let you know they ain't really about that. These white people, man, hey, Top. Boy, you go in these gun, man, go to a gun shop, go to Turner's. Mm-hmm. Young white dudes.
Yep.
Barely got hair on their face. Oh yeah, that's a great buy right there, man. I got that one. That was my first gun when I was 12. Yeah. They doing competitions. Oh yeah, I do a little something. I shoot a little bit. They shoot. Boy, they can pull it from here and shoot and be accurate. They doing all kind of, they moving and shooting targets and all of that. So they like, okay, well, what the competition look like? Oh, they just be on the street corners talking ish. They ain't gonna really do nothing. And then we be, oh, not us. We ain't gonna do nothing to y'all. We ain't about that. We follow the laws of the land.
Oh man.
What are we really preparing for, man? Do we really believe what it is that we say that we believe in this Bible? Let me keep it real with you. Like, how do you think when Israel sees the leaders respond in such a way, what do you think is going to happen in their spirit? Now, mind you, because somebody will take this and be like, oh, man, them Jays, man. Knock it off, man. I'm not saying that, man. We trying to be peaceable as much as we can, if at all possible. But when it comes down to a point where our name is just being drugged through the mud, yes, once again, I'm not about to sit here and smile about it and apologize and try to, oh, no, we ain't, nah, man, nah. Come interview me. Go back to the PowerPoint, man. Suspect in Jersey City linked to black Hebrew Israelite group. The black Hebrew Israelites have been labeled a hate group. The suspect wrote anti-Semitic and anti-police posts, an official said. Now they want to try to get the cops, rally up the cops against us. Even in L.A., them Israelites, man, you got to watch them. Who are the black Hebrew Israelites? Watch this. Look at the choice of words. A fragmented collection of sects with a presence in the U.S. and abroad. Black Hebrew Israelites believe they are the descendants of the ancient Israelites. The group has prominent chapters in big cities along the eastern seaboard and in San Diego. So whoever was writing this, I guess to them, we wasn't even putting up enough work to be mentioned in L.A. They mentioned Sakari in San Diego because that's who in San Diego. I guess we wasn't as radical or something to them. I don't know.
Hey, they need the extremists, dog.
They gotta show the most extreme, I guess. But it is unclear exactly how many supporters subscribe to the group's beliefs. So now, why would they utilize the word fragmented? A fragmented collection of sects. Huh? How would they know that? And then they let their people know, like they ain't no threat yet, really. But like they shaking in their boots, the higher ups, because they know what the prophecies say. But they trying to let everybody know. They gotta let everybody else feel like, man, we could take these fools. We could take them. That's how they feeling. It says the group includes factions that have been designated as hate groups by watchdogs, including the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League. Anti-Semitic black Hebrew Israelites. Now they just go all out. We anti-Semitic black Hebrew Israelites. What is that? believe that white people are agents of Satan, that white Jews are imposters. They couldn't just lead imposters without the quotations. And that blacks, that's when someone is being very condescending. We're imposters. And that blacks are God's true chosen people. Some sects, listen to this, Ash. Some sects believe that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. All the while they know, scriptures say Israel is as the sand of the sea. Boy, when you put blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans finally get their stuff together, who? And they know it. The Anti-Defamation League, however, emphasizes that the extremist and anti-Semitic sects of black Hebrew Israelites are unrelated to the thousands of black Jews of Ethiopian origin who are genuine members of the Jewish faith and who have been welcomed to Israel in recent years, the organization says on its website. The group is known for its aggressive street preaching tactics, often in Times Square and Baltimore's Inner Harbor. Preachers are known to read from the Bible, talk about Holocaust denial, and make anti-Semitic slurs. The public inflammatory debate and argument is the MO of the black Hebrew Israelites that preach on the ground. They are there to make people uncomfortable and be confrontational, said Oren Siegel, director of the ADL's Center on Extremism. All right. So now, group has been on the radar, for decades. Again, group has been on the radar for decades. Watchdog organizations have been tracking the group for decades. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been following the group for more than 20 years. And it includes 144 black Hebrew Israelite chapters on its annual hate group list. The ADL began tracking the group in the late 1970s, Siegel said. The group has been gaining traction in recent years, according to Heidi Barrich, director of the Intelligence Project at the SPLC. This is a movement that has been growing pretty rapidly in the last 3 or 4 years, largely in reaction to Trump and white nationalism. Black Hebrew Israelites have used these developments to recruit into their movement. Man. Hey, this is the real stuff. I know a lot of Israel, they want the hooping and the hollering and the fast break and the dribble between the legs with the slam dunk. Appreciate it, man. But this is the real deal right here. Let's see. Tuesday's shooting in Jersey City, however, would mark a departure from past black Hebrew Israelite tactics. Members of the group have been reportedly involved in domestic disputes in the U.S. and UK, but not in mass killing incidents. So now, they're even tracking everything that we're doing domestically. Our domestic disputes and marriages, they're looking at everything. They documenting everything. I'm hoping that this does not signal some move, and I don't know if I have it in here, man, but they talk about they was bringing out stuff that certain Israelite groups have said, and trying to talk about how what's the words, were chauvinistic and things. Like they trying to bring everything out because all they're doing is building a case. So when they finally do what it is that they're setting out to do, people don't feel bad about it. It's like everybody's like, y'all deserve that. These people, we need to get rid of them. Never taking into account that these people are their own family, people that work hard, and people that just have decided that they want to serve the Creator in righteousness. But all of that gets thrown out the window because they begin to demonize and defame us so much that even those that are amongst us are going to be willing to turn us in. You ready for that? Okay, let me finish up. I'm hoping that this does not signal some new move by members of the Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, see, look how these bastards operate, man. They setting the heck, man. They setting it up. This is Lob City right here. Watch this. This is not typical of them to have a large targeted attack, as we see with white supremacists. Barrett said, referencing mass shootings by alleged white supremacists in El Paso, Pittsburgh, Christchurch, New Zealand. So they've been listening to us because that's one of the main things we say. We don't go and shoot people up. We ain't actually perpetrated no actual crime or violence on anybody. Now they building a case like, yes, y'all have. I mean, it used to be where y'all wasn't, but now, I mean, look what happened in Jersey City. In October, a self-identified black Israelite was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon after allegedly assaulting 2 people as they were leaving a prayer service at a synagogue in Miami. The man threatened to kill the victims with a knife, called them fake Jews, and told them to go back to Israel, according to NBC News. What Israelite do you know is going to tell them to go back to Israel? Go back to our homeland. You don't belong there, but just go back there. It's funny how any of y'all ever heard of that account? And I know a lot of y'all be checking up on the news. Y'all be abreast. If nobody knows, our Minister of Information knows. Have you ever seen that one, IQ? You did? Okay, when was that?
It looked like he was homeless. But, man. And like you said, who's going to tell them to go back to our homeland?
Crazy, man. It says the group gained national attention in January. Look what they bringing back up. In January, and we was with you during that time. Yep. When video went viral of a white Covington Catholic high school junior standing face to face with an indigenous man near the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The student said the standoff began after 4 African-American protesters, later identified as members of the Black Hebrew Israelites, said hateful things to a group of his classmates. One of the lessons here is that there are many unknown groups and movements in this country that organize around ideologies that are hateful. We tend to not hear about them until something terrible happens. It's just a reminder of the importance of always having to push back and stand up against hatred because the end results are too often violence. Boy, if that ain't a setup, I don't know what is. That sounds like the war on terrorism, the war on drugs. This is the war on hate speech. This is the war on hatred, the war on anti-Semitism. Well, I don't know exactly who they are and who they belong to and exactly what they did, but I just know then we've got to be vigilant. They got beards, pull them over. Yep. You see fringes, pat them down. Oh, turn back. Turn back. Guess who made the Southern Poverty Law Center's list of hate groups in the U.S.? Guess who? Smile. Smile, you're on candid camera. Did you know that? That's funny. Man, we dealing with a people with power, man. Anti-Semitism versus racism. What's the difference? Every other people is racism, but when it comes to them, it's never racism. It's anti-Semitism. Why they get their own exclusive word? What's so special about them? They get their own word. Is it because they the people of the Bible? Which they say they don't care about? I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. Responders and reporters, they both. Look at those cops. And look at the emergency responder. They all look like bootleg Jews to me.
Yeah. We the judge, jury, and the juror. Executioner and all. Lawyer.
Yep.
Doctor.
They gonna be who you gotta call. You need some legal help. They gonna be who you gonna be seeing when you trying to get your life saved. Oh. Boy, man, Deuteronomy 28 is real and one of all things. Watch this real quick.
You know, when more and more information comes out over the next few days, I think it's going to be very, very apparent that they had intent of murdering more than 3 people. And had it not been for those officers responding immediately and pinning them inside of that grocery store, this would have been much worse. And I think as the information comes out, I'm comfortable in saying that. And as the world is watching, it's important to call it anti-Semitism and hatred and domestic terrorism, whatever terms you want to use, but you need to call it out for what it is.
The AG's office isn't going as far as you just
look, I respect the AG's office and they're conducting the investigation as they're supposed to conduct the investigation and be cautious in their terminology, and I respect that. But when you look at the facts, I'm pretty comfortable we're going to end up in the place of calling it for what it is, and we should do that quickly and aggressively.
Go to Psalms chapter 94. Verse 16.
The book of Psalms, chapter 94 and verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoer?
The Bible says, and the Most High is asking this question, who's going to stand up for the Most High against these evildoers? Our people stand up for everything else. But who's going to stand up against this? Go ahead.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Against the workers of iniquity. These are the people, when the Bible said, what's that one scripture in the New Testament? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. That's Ephesians. Is that the one I'm looking for? Where it talk about spiritual wickedness in high places. Yeah. You talking about these people literally run the earth. They run Hollywood. Check out the history of the moguls. They run organized crime. They run politics. They run the corporations. They run the corporation that's called America. They run all your financial institutions. They run your higher education. They run the world. Who's going to stand up against them? That's a serious question. Go from there. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 12, verse 53.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 53. Then all the heathen that were round about them sought to destroy them. For said they have no captain.
See, this is what they said about Israel. When Jonathan and all our leaders during that time were deceased, were killed, that's when they decided, all right, now it's time to go in. Now it's time to strike. Read it one more time, Mike.
Then all the heathen that were round about them sought to destroy them. For said they have no captain, nor any to help them. Now therefore, let us make war upon them, and take away their memorial from among men.
It's always been the same thing. And because right now you don't have anybody that has presented themselves as of yet to speak in the fashion of Khalid, Muhammad, to speak in the fashion of Malcolm, to speak in the fashion of the various different men, whether they be black. I know a lot of them, most, Ash and Howard Shai will be able to tell you even better of those of the 10 tribes, so-called, well, I don't like to say, because they could be Judah, shoot. We be like 10 tribes, and we kind of generalizing. But that's why I say kind of like so-called 10 tribe, like who we perceive to be 10 tribe, but we know that are Israel, right? Of them, all those that actually stood up. You know what I'm saying? It was a couple of years ago. Who was that was showing that? Was that you, IQ? Or was that Ash? Where we was looking at the videos, and we was looking at a lot of the leaders in the past in Central and South America and all of the stuff that they was doing. You remember that? Revolutionaries and all of the things that they were doing that coincided with those, because we usually know Malcolm X, so on and so forth, But there are many of the 10 tribes also that did the same thing, right? And a lot of them met the same fate, right? They meet the same fate. Now, when they're removed out the way, it seems to always be a free-for-all. All the nations feel like they can attack. It's always been like that. And even right now, who's speaking for us? And we're in such a bad place because we got probably a few that could speak on our behalf. But everybody want to be a franchise player. Everybody too busy trying to, get their turn and get their shot. Man, being a leader is ugly. It's a lot of dirty work involved. All I'm saying is, come on. Let's get to the grit. Because the people looking for leaders, man. I'm sitting up there tripping, Al. I'm like, how somebody in Africa wants somebody from Compton and LA and Inglewood to lead them? What they see in us? What they see in us? And I'm humbled. I'm humbled. But I do realize, man, it's something that the Most High has put in us, and people see it. That light is shining. So we got a responsibility. We got to step up. We got to really sit down and really figure this thing out. Figure out how we going to move and be more strategic instead of just waking up in the morning and then just jumping on them streets and just saying whatever come off the top of the dome. That's a small portion of it. How we going to feed these sheep? And how we going to guard from these wolves? They got cold mouthpieces, man. We got to be able to combat that. Go ahead, Op.
You passing the mic?
Got a mic.
Well, I was just speaking with another Israelite in Alabama, and we want to work more in silence instead of being loud. That's one of our biggest problems as Israel. We love to speak too loud. When we want to make a move, we rat it out. You know, like look at all of our famous people that want to show their money, show this, show this. We need to start being underground, being a little more tactical, and start to reach out to these other guys in other places. And we really need to start thinking tactical about a plan on when we meet, who we speak to, who's going to be in charge, vote to get someone in charge to start speaking on that, because our loud mouth is keeping us down, I think. Our presence is too bright for them right now. So if we make any type of move, it can't be any type of move that's said to anyone else but amongst us.
Yeah, we're not circumspect. You know, you don't ever engage, you know, with your enemy and tell him, I'm about to sock you. I'm about to hit you with my right hand. I'm about to hit you with my right hand, and then after that, you don't do that. You want him to pretend like you smiling, and then you crack him or something like. Certain things, you know, we gotta still go out there and cry aloud to the sheep, but that does not mean, like you saying, that we gotta tell them every move. And it'd be a whole lot of clout chasing amongst our people, man. It's tough, man. It's tough to put a handle on that because you can't tell nobody nothing. You look at certain organizations and we be mad at them because there's certain things that they could do better, but then you start understanding why they move in a certain way. We got to figure some things out because this ain't, you know, it's not a game. It's not a game. Scripture tell us that. Scripture tell us that. You got, who was that, Judith? Scripture tell you ain't got to tell the truth to your enemy. What part of the game is that? Now, here's the thing, though. Like I told him, I said, man, I want to live a long life. I want to raise my sons, my daughter, and I want to make my contribution. But if I got to go, don't let me go on no foolishness. Don't let me go on no dumb stuff. Don't let me go and they just said, oh, the nigga was in the hood. He just got caught in a random drive-by. You know, they mistaken identity. I don't want to go like that. If I'm going to go, let me go where they know. And the other side took me out, Esau. And he was doing this, and it's known. That's what we got to be on, man. You ask me, that's what we got to be on, man. All of the other stuff, man, we got to really, it's so much, man. I know I'm not going to be able to cover it all in this lesson, man. Like, even in how we dealing with our people, man, like them views is only so much, man. You know what I'm saying? We really got to start strategizing. You know what I'm saying? Because we got people who are 24/7 strategizing against us. Go from there. Go to Psalms chapter 120. Verse 1. You know, there's just, for them, that's some boss stuff for them to be able to have something like this happen and then have us to respond in ways that some of our people have been responding and try. Yeah, that's like some boss stuff to them. Like, we still got these niggas in check. Am I right or am I wrong? Go ahead, Op.
Like I was watching Roland Martin, and we listening to XM radio, like the Urban View, and they done condemned us already. Like, you know, everything that the media said, they 100% behind it. They ain't fact checked, ain't nothing, just straight up, you know, like they said, that's what it is.
Because they with the program. They with the program, and they don't want that smoke. Yeah, a lot of them, they don't want that smoke. It's a whole lot, even within the Israelite community. They already like, man, that's why I don't mess with the camps. Man, I'm telling you, they don't want that smoke. Go ahead, Art.
And you know, when Trump signed that order, Trump just recently signed that order, right? And when you look at that order that he signed, it was to take away federal funding from colleges that was teaching against them being the true people in the Bible. Because you got Edomites out here that are teaching that we're the true people.
Yeah.
In the schools.
Yeah.
And he put that in writing to take away their money. And that was really what that bill was about. It was that y'all want to do that, we're going to hurt y'all this way.
Straight up. Because everybody got to be with the machine. That's real talk. Everybody, you having Edomites, not even here, just here in the United States, but you got Edomites, Palestinians, Arabs all over that are feeling that guilt and saying, man, let me try to ease my judgment. Let me help. And they like, nah. You got to be 100% with us, homie. You got to be with the machine. Go ahead, Art.
Psalms chapter 120 and verse 1. In my distress, I cried unto the Lord, and he heard me. Deliver my soul, O Lord, from lying lips and from a deceitful tongue.
He said, deliver my soul, O Lord, from lying lips and from a deceitful tongue. Read on.
What shall be given unto thee? Or what shall be done unto thee, thou false tongue?
So what's going to happen to these false tongues, these liars? Go ahead.
Sharp arrows of the mighty, with coals of juniper.
They going to end up being shot down. That's what the scriptures say. So whether or not that was official or not, it's plenty of more of that coming. And that's not coming from us per se. Somebody will try to take this and twist that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we coming to hurt you. The Most High is coming to do harm to you for everything that you've done to his people. Everything that you perpetrate, talk about, those that do well by the Jews and those that don't do well by the Jews, you're going to be cursed. You know who the real Jews are. You'll never go to Revelation 2 and 9 and Revelation 3 and 9. You know what it is. And for everything that you've done, that you've already confessed, you got to pay for that. So trust me, it's going to be plenty of more arrows coming your way. Believe that. Read on.
Woe is me, that I sojourn in Mizpah, that I dwell in the tents of Kedar. My soul has long dwelt with him that hateth peace.
My soul have long dwelt with him that hateth peace. These people hate peace, man. That's why it says, if at all possible. It ain't possible to live peacefully with them for a long period of time. It's been known throughout history. They got a whole history that they tried to do everything to erase. The history of them as the Khazaria, and everything surrounding that. All of the different clans and countries that they invaded and took on the names and became those people and invaded more and conquered more that they tried to hide. right? I'm telling you, these people have been known for war. Even amongst their own people, even amongst so-called white people, they know that these people will stop at nothing. They've taken everything. Everything. Go ahead and read.
I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war.
He said they are for war. Period. You think it's a lie, huh? Go to Exodus chapter 17. Some of y'all probably think I'm pulling a rabbit out of a hat, huh? You probably think I'm full of it. Exodus, look at some history. Exodus 17, start at verse 8.
Exodus chapter 17 in verse 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim.
So they came and fought against us back in the days. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow we'll stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in mine hand.
Go ahead.
So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed.
So every time Moses was like this, Israel was whooping that bootay. Moses' arms started getting tired and going down. Israel started getting whooped on. He was like, oh, come on, hold him up, Moses. He was struggling. Why this? Why this? And why this dealing only with this people? When you look at the word hand, the word hand is yad, right? There's a word that comes from yad. Yad meaning hands. Happens to be the name that I named my daughter, Yada, which is the shortened form of Yahwadah, which means to praise, but more specifically, to praise with your hands extended to the sky. There's only a few things that we do, and everything encompasses our communication with the Most High. Either you're praising or you're praying, and either way, you're submitting to the Heavenly Father. What is he saying by this right here? He's saying with these people, you're going to have to constantly be in prayer. You're going to have to constantly be in the spirit of praising the Most High. And you're going to have to constantly be in the spirit of surrendering yourself totally, submitting yourself totally to the Most High in order for you to have a chance against these wicked people. You done became an Israelite, you don't know how to pray no more. Have any former Muslims in here? How serious was the prayer regimen? Real talk. It's time to get your spiritual weight up. These people right here, you ever play like Mario Brothers? They the last level. They King Koopa. They King Koopa. They the last level. He said you're going to have to keep them hands up. Go ahead.
Verse 12. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and stayed up his hands, and one on the one side, and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun.
And I'm going to throw one more at you. He said, keep them hands up. You got them hands down, you getting hit all upside your head. Get that chin checked. Get that jaw touched. Keep them hands up. You can't let your hands down dealing with these people. You can't let your guard down. As Ra'ashaf would say if he was here, it's all in the spirit, Doc. That's what he's talking about. Read on.
Verse 13. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. The Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven.
You see that? He said that's a promise. I will do what? I will utterly put out the remembrance. Now, why would he decide to do that? One of the reasons is because they were the main perpetrators in trying to put out our remembrance. You can read about that in many places in the scriptures, but specifically Psalms 83. They was named specifically. I think they was the first nation that was named. Literally. He said, you was, okay, well, I got that back for you, but it's going to be so for real when it come down to you. You got to go. You the border of wickedness. You the wicked that's talked about in Job 9 and 24. You the worst of Esau. Go ahead.
For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven.
Go ahead.
And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation.
So Jehovah meaning Yahweh, Nissi meaning banner. He said, let this be a banner. Let this be a sign. Let this be something that can be seen by everybody and let the whole world know. Let this be a declaration that what? He said that there will be war with Amalek from generation to generation. What other nation have we been fighting from generation to generation even until this day? I can't name no other ones. Africans ain't no problem right now. The real Hamites over there. I know we got a gang of our people in Africa. We just seen that. But Ham ain't in no real condition to put them gloves on. Right? Ishmael, yeah, he boxing with some of us, but his arm's too short to box with all of us. He ain't got that kind of reach. It's only one nation that got that reach right now. Boy, he tearing us up. He jabbing the heck out. We just taking them. Taking them. We've been taking them for a long time, Mike. They done turned to places where we've been sold in the museums and they for profit. Like we just had to pay. How in the world they gonna charge me to go to a place where my ancestors were sold? I'm just saying. Go ahead, Our
problem is they throwing jabs at us and we trying to grab hugs at them and they keep on popping us in our face. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Absolutely.
And I'm not trying to bring it down on everybody. I'll bring it down on everybody. I see brothers at work. I see sisters at work. They will ignore me and go straight to Esau all day long and look at me like I'm doing something wrong. So, and it's all over, and it's very apparent that we can't stand each other first.
Yeah. Cause like what he said, Roland Martin and all of them, they don't want no smoke. They like, I'm with the program master. I'm with you. And believe it or not, even amongst your own people, it's the same thing. Whether you in the church or you in the hood, even the homies in the hood, they don't want that smoke. I feel comfortable. I'll pop a couple of niggas with the homies, but I ain't messing with him, though. Keep it real. Oh, he on a whole nother level. It's crazy. That same dude will sit up there and be like, knock him out. That's the most fierce nation on the face of this earth for the last 400-500 years easily. Yeah.
Just the same way what they doing, Roland Martin, all that. We got them. Don't worry about it, boss.
Yeah.
We take care of that.
Exactly. Same exact thing. They running stuff everywhere, over the whole earth. Enough is enough. Go ahead, Chazael.
You know, and you talk about us being against our own people. After all this went down, I got a phone call from my pop out in Houston. Mm-hmm. He married into a devout Catholic, right? A bunch of black Catholics out there. It's crazy. Even the cardinal. Generations of Negroes out there in the cloth. It was freaky. It scared my children when we went over there. But he had the nerve to ask me, hey, is this the group that you're part of? I was like, what group? What are you talking about? I wanted to hear it. You know, I wanted to hear where it was going to go. Oh, the black, he was like, this group that you're part of. I said, I'm with True Nation. Oh, okay. I thought it was the Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, how long has the Catholic Church been in the news? What they been doing?
They make movies about them. Yeah. They make movies about them murdering people and then going to confession. Man, it's crazy, man. Like the mind games is totally beyond me, man. As much as I give Esau the award, God, dog, I have a party for him and give him the award. I give him that much. You a bad motor scooter, homie. You the man when it come down to mind control. Man, the stuff he been able to pull off and keep a straight face. God, dog. God.
Hey, one of the biggest things you got to notice about Esau, and I say it all the time, is Esau is the only nation who rapes, murders, kills, genocide, the whole nine, and puts on a suit and acts like he's the most holiest in the world. And when it come down to you, he gonna trip on any little thing you do. Any little thing you do out of line, oh, you're terrorists. How horrible of you. But when it come down to him, he won't, anything, we're just trying to live peaceably. We just have a just cause. Everything with him is a just cause. Manifest destiny, just cause. The pilgrim, just cause. Everything is, we're just trying to survive. You can understand that. I'm sure you have a family, you have kids, right? You know what it is to try to make a living for yourself. You can understand. Everything is to empathize with his struggle, but then demonize your struggle. You all can get it together. You just have to try. You guys are lazy. You just got to get it together. Stop killing yourselves, and you can have a decent living. I did it. That's a devil.
Stepping on our backs.
That's a devil. That's a deceiver.
Man.
Give it back.
Real talk, man. Real talk. Go from there. I know time almost up. I'm going to hit you with a couple more quick ones. Give me Ecclesiasticus 28. Verse 12.
No, from the interview, that's going to be my opening line, right? When they try to shoot them loaded questions.
28 and 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 28 and verse 12. If thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both these come out of thy mouth.
Both of these come out your mouth. What you gonna do? What you gonna use your mouth for? What are you gonna use your voice for? Man, you learn how to wield your tongue, and it can do more damage than any of your knuckles could ever do. Drop down. Give me verse 17.
Verse 17. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bone.
Boy, his tongue game is on a whole nother level. He's broken us as a people. Man, just with this. Read the next verse.
Verse 18, many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so many as have fallen by the tongue. Well is he that is defended from.
That's all I needed. I know all of the other parts is good too, but that's just the meat I wanted. That's why I'm reacting, and I had to take the time and read the stuff I read today and put this in its proper context. Because we can't look at this like this is just another day in the playpen. We got to look at this for what this is. This is how he does the most damage to us. And we can't continue to stand by and just not say anything or get caught off guard and kind of scramble and not give a legitimate response or a Christ-like response. Because Christ was always ready to cut them up and be blameless. We got to get on that level. Go from there. Go to Psalm 55, 20 and 21 real quick.
Psalms 20.
55, 20 and 21.
Psalms chapter 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
That's all he been doing. We try to be at peace with him, and he always put his hands on us and break his covenant. Oh, everything gonna be okay, and it ain't never okay. Go ahead.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
What was in his heart? War was in his heart. War has always been in this man's heart. Go ahead.
His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Go from there. Give me Psalms 140. Verse 1.
Psalms chapter 140 in verse 1. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war.
Continually are they gathered together for what?
For war.
For war. See, this ain't no weekend thing. This ain't just a hobby for Esau, for Amalek. This is a continual thing. So how in the world do we think that we can combat this with such a lackluster approach? We look at everything else like it's more important, and then when we get a little bit of time, we'll meditate on this type of thing and we'll address it. Get on Facebook or whatever, say what we say, shoot our little, whatever we want to say. And then we back on some other stuff, man. Like, nah, man, this is war, man. Like, people don't understand, and that's one of the things that makes it difficult for us, because we're fighting a war that we're in the midst of. We're at home. Usually people that had to go out to war, the reason why you guys were able to take on a war-like state of mind, right, was because you were taken away from home, right? And you were put in a place where you were isolated, right? And you were made to have a regimen of preparation in order to prepare yourself to survive in the fight and so on and so forth. But when you in the midst of it, like we in the midst of it, there's a disconnect. There's such a disconnect because we're literally in the midst of it, and we've become desensitized. A lot of us don't even believe we got an enemy. It's so systemically put together, and we're so jaded as a people that it's hard to even figure out what Esau is doing. We can't even figure out what his next move is because we ain't even figured out what his first move was. And yet all of this machismo, and we got all of these things to say to one another. When it's time to pull young cats by the coattails and by the collars and say, look, I know you got a whole lot of YouTube friends and Facebook friends, but this some real Israelite-ish. Homie, this ain't no play leadership. It's time to start getting ready. We have to do this and deal like this on behalf of the people. The whole nation is dependent on us. Because those that you would think, if you talk about the UN, we don't have a representative at the UN, but everybody else does. I wonder what those conversations look like and who they talking about. We the only one that don't have no representative up in there. Would it be too far-fetched for me to believe that some of them conversations might be about us? I'm just saying, man. Drop down. That might be all I need from that one. Give me man. I had so much fire for y'all, man. I'll give it to y'all another time, most high willing. Get Psalms 35. Because and I'm going to tell you, man, and the Psalms go into it more than anything else, man. It's just Psalm after Psalm after Psalm that talk about Esau. I don't know if y'all ever looked at that. David was man, he was on it. Psalm 35. Give me verse 1 real quick.
Psalm chapter 35 and verse 1. Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me. Fight against them that fight against me.
You see that? He say, fight against them that fight against me. Drop down. Get verse 7.
Verse 7. For without cause have they hid from me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul.
He said, without cause they have hid for me their net in a pit. They always set in some kind of trap. It's always a trap. It says, without cause they have digged for my soul. Drop down to verse 11.
Verse 11. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things that I knew not. They rewarded me evil for good, to the spoiling of my soul.
All kind of false witnesses. You seen all of them false witnesses up there today? Rising up against us, laying charges of things that we don't even know nothing about. Tell me the Bible ain't on point. Read on.
But as for me...
But watch how we are. See, they saying all of these bad things about us, and watch how we react. Read.
When they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth.
We were sad when they were sick. We felt bad. Pray for Paris. Pray for them. Like he said, we was watching the Schindler's List. Go ahead. We wasn't watching Kunt and them. We was watching the Schindler's List at school. Go ahead.
I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into mine own bosom.
Go ahead.
I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily, as one that mourneth for his mother.
Don't our people do that? Yes, that's what they want. You heard what Donahue said. You telling me you can't even find it somewhere in your heart? Everybody want to pray for her. But when it be us, they don't care. They can care less. Some niggas in the church that got shot up. Oh, okay. That's it. Not even the next day, but the next moment, you ever seen how the news can switch up? They be like, oh, yeah. But in other news, they don't do that when it's something like that. They take the whole news segment. But when it's us, it be on some switch stuff. Go ahead, Art.
Mike.
I'm pretty active in LinkedIn, and the other day someone posted that they're kidnapping our sisters, right?
Yeah.
One comment, mine. Then the next post down, a little white girl dancing, 5,000 comments.
Wow. They don't care about us, Art. They don't care about us, man. And I was telling my wife, because my wife had just kind of got on that, and she was like, whoop, whoop, and she had her little moment, was like, I said, hold on, baby. IQ, how long we been talking about that? How many years have you talked about all of the black and Latino girls going missing? Go ahead.
Remember me, you, and Bosch, we did a woman's, a woman's with Dr. Tom.
They was on it, yeah.
That was like about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But the question that kind of rattled the white lady that was giving the presentation was, you asked, out of those women that were missing, how many of those were blacks and Latinos? And remember, she didn't want to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they know, but they sweep our stuff under the rug. And these were like high-end people that work for the government, and we happened to be doing an event. They were dancing around who the women were, but when you asked the question, she had to because, cameras was rolling.
Yeah. So this has been something, it's crazy, because we don't care. A lot of us don't really get it until it starts trending. How many sisters up in there heard about that, and then it concerned you? Keep it real. Recently heard about all of the women going missing and stuff going down. I know they had a little, yeah. But this been going on for a long time. It just started trending. Telling you, man. Go ahead, Art.
There's a big story, kind of going back to this scripture right here. There's a story that was really trending pretty hard out of Texas. Those of y'all don't know, I'm from Texas. The brother Brotham Vaughn, I believe his name was, the brother that got shot in his apartment by the white woman, the white cop in Texas, in Dallas. It was up in Dallas. And the whole story that really hit hard was how the brother and the mother of this man was actually feeling sorry for the white woman during her court case and was hugging on her and wanted to reduce the sentence. Hugging on her, pictures of him hugging on her, and forgave her. And the judge was a sister. The judge said that she gave her a less penalty because of her Christian beliefs. See, we dealing with the Bible Belt down there in Texas. I'm talking about Christianity is another level of stronghold back home, man. I mean, got the judges doing that. Talking about that brother would have wanted, my brother would have wanted you to be free, but he's dead. But you want her to be free and your brother's dead? Christianity has destroyed our people.
That ain't justice. That ain't justice. This.
Yeah, something like that. I think they did. Yeah, they gave him citizenship for that, for hugging on her.
Give him a award for his buffoonery and his coonery.
He said, we're going to give you the Coon Award right here. Memorialize you.
This is the last one. I know some of y'all tired. It's right there. Just read verse 15 real quick.
Verse 15. But in my adversity, they rejoice.
In our adversity, They rejoice. Still on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All around the country, they having fun and throwing parties and making fun, and Black History Month, they making fun. They love to make fun of the 10 tribe and the Native Americans, and they just had things taken, right? They want to make a mockery of our plight, but we supposed to be mourning for them. I can't do it. It's just like Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it, man. I don't care. I can't do it. And I guarantee I get more respect from them for that. And they like, all right, well, we just know what your position is. I can't do it. Read on.
But in my adversity, they rejoice and gathered themselves together. Yea, the abject gathered themselves. The abject.
You know what abject mean? An abject? Someone deserving to be hated. That's what an abject is. Look it up. The Bible says they deserve to be hated. And yet they got the whole world tensing up. No, I don't hate you. I don't hate you, not me. I'm not anti-Semitic. No, I like all people. No, I follow the laws of the land. No, not me. Bible says they are worthy. They deserve to be hated for everything that they've done. Oh, so you hate us? No, you hate me. What I'm doing, I'm reacting to everything that you do to me. Not that you've done, but that you still do, that your people still do to me right now. I'm just reacting. Go ahead.
Yea, the abjects gathered themselves together against me, and I knew it not. They did tear me and ceased not.
Go ahead.
With hypocritical mockers and feasts, they gnashed upon me with their teeth.
All these feasts are all of your holidays, and they just be laughing because we be sitting up here celebrating them destroying us. That's all I got for you tonight. I hope y'all meditate upon these things. IQ gonna hit you with part 2 tomorrow. Good to have you out from Texas.